Well, hello. Welcome to the show. Thanks for tuning in. Take a quick second, hit that subscribe button. It's a small amount of effort from you, and it means the world to me. And even if I don't call, I still love you. And now here's a quick snippet of what you might have missed last week.
You know how you see in like TV shows and stuff like that when somebody gets hit by a bus or like movies?
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's just like they're there and then the bus is fast and then they're not there. But this scene was almost like you knew what happened to this lady. You knew what the aftermath of this was.
Toast.
Yeah.
Imagine being the driver of that car. You're just like, oh man, we just killed Carol. I'm like, oh well, keep on going. I guess when you're in hell, you like sugar. Those two stoners that show up, they're like, what do you think it is? Oh, I think anybody's alive. Well, the door's still closed. Kaboom! Blast the kid with the door.
I thought I wrote down "rip stoner kid" because I thought he was dead when he got hit by that dog.
It looked like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Wolverine never did anything but just smoke cigars. I don't think he ate.
Shit, maybe you're right. I have never seen Wolverine eat.
Doesn't eat.
Maybe he's from hell too.
Wolverine's a zombie. What's the most you've ever lost in a coin toss?
And now coming up on this episode of Real Garbage.
So
I wanted to say that word because you said the C word earlier, and I was like, but that was in the day.
Yeah,
See, in the 80s, you couldn't say it, but
now it's fine.
You know, I was married to a British woman once, so it's kind of like my kids were saying it when they were 3. And
Yeah.
oh, he's a nice out cunt.
It's a term of endearment, isn't it?
Yeah, oh, my uncle, he's a nice out cunt.
He's a
Yeah.
cheeky cunt.
Bit of a cunt.
Bit of a cunt.
Which
Oh,
is like, it's so, and then they over here in North America, though, everyone's assholes tighten up and they go, ooh, it said the C word.
I'm triggered.
But I think I'm just discovering I'm so meat and potatoes as I hear about these things. And
Just
like,
just
what about
missionary, 2.5 minutes, done. Thank you very much.
Dave just prefers meat and potatoes dumped on his feet to get him in the mood.
It's like-
cold though? I want yesterday's meat and potatoes mushed up
And then-
on my feet.
and then ropes of warm gravy slung on your chest.
I love this metaphor. I've never thought of yogurt or gravy as being a rope of something, but this is a whole new way of So back to Nick Cage and lovemaking.
It's going to be a good one. You guys, I swear we're going to take a break from Nicolas Cage movies soon, but we're going to wrap it up with Vampire's Kiss. I've got Dave, Bosma, and Darren Millar on the show on this episode. We had a great time. Stick around. We're going to get right to it after a quick word from our fake sponsors.
How's your pillow game? Do you hate when you sleep? Do you hate you're just cranked up in bed like this, or you're down flat? You can never get it quite right? Got a new pillow. It's called Blanket. You can get it as thick as you want. You can get it as thin as you want. You can flip it over. It's cool. You can bunch it up. You can make it into a fancy swan if you want. Blanket, the new pillow for 2021.
You're a vampire. Your fangs are your livelihood, and the constant flow of time has taken its toll on your pearly whites. Biting into a neck just isn't as easy as it once was, and we at the Coffin Hut understand. That's why we're proud to bring you the newest evolution in vampire dental technology, Nosferatu-teeth. Using space-age material and high-density carbon fiber, Nosferatu-teeth eliminate the hassle and effort necessary to penetrate human neck skin. With their patented never-dull technology, you'll wonder how you ever bit necks without them. Nosferatu-teeth come with a lifetime warranty and full money-back guarantee if you're not fully satisfied. And by money-back guarantee, we mean we'll give you one of our interns to help you with whatever you need. Wink! Nosferatu-teeth, available exclusively at the Coffin Hut.
Tonight's program is brought to you by Real Cheese. Why would you have the substitute? Why would you have Cheese Whiz? I know what cheese is. I know what a whiz is. I don't want them together. I don't want Rip Ricotta. I don't need Kraft Dinner cheese. You could have Real Cheese. It's just sitting there waiting for you.
Real garbage.
I could elaborate more, but I didn't write any of it down. But I like real cheese. I don't know about like.
You don't go.
I
for
also like Cheese Whiz and the right,
You don't go for the cheese slices on a little
cheese.
American
Oh,
cheese.
on a burger, one of those fakey cheese slices,
Yeah.
and then you melt it on the barbecue. That's classic. Yeah.
Yeah, cheese slices on their own, though. What are you, a psychopath?
Yeah.
What are you?
No, that's a standard snack for me.
Oh, really?
Well, sure. Like, there's the Newfie taco, which is where you take the cheese slice and wrap it around potato chips.
Oh, that does sound actually really good.
Right? Crunchy, cheesy. And then just any kind of cheese, though. That's my late night. Like when I'm too lazy to actually make myself anything, I just cut some cheese off the block.
Hell yeah.
I like you're just beside, you wake up in the middle of the night, you're like, I'm a little hungry, reach over.
Well, my girlfriend's always, because she's always looking at me when she's like, you know that you're going to complain about that later, right? Like, you're going to wake up at 4 and be like, I don't feel good. I don't feel good. I got the cheese sweats.
Ladies and gentlemen,
I get the
welcome,
meat sweats.
welcome to Real Garbage, the #1 cheese podcast here in Brentwood Bay, BC.
Ow!
Coming at you live. Well, maybe. Coming at you live from my brand new couch.
This is I like this now that I chose this seat, and this is very pimpin'. This is very rock. I feel like I'm at a rock concert the whole time.
I feel
I'm
like
talking.
anyone who has podcasted with me in that chair has said the same thing. Just, oh, yeah. Because you just get it laying right on you.
It's kind of, it's kind of like, I mean, I'm just having visions of like, I could get comfy like this all the time. Why don't I do this more often? I don't need the mic necessarily.
You're always welcome.
What's your live stream, Dave? That's what you look like, a gamer sitting in there. What do you play? You like your Fortnite all the time? Fortnite gamer live stream.
I'm so,
Twitch?
I don't play any video games.
That's
I'm so bad. Actually, I play poker. And for fake money.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the only way to play.
I downloaded the real money one, and I'm like, oh, you lose a lot more when you do it for real. It's weird how that works out, and
That's
you're
how
not
that's how
a
they get you.
millionaire.
The free money, you win tons. You're like, oh man, I should do this for real. And then you're like, all right, we got them.
I'm ready for Vegas.
Just give us your credit card info. You'll be fine.
That's how I lost $4,000 2 times in Vegas. What? Because I was like, but I won $4,000 another time.
Yeah. So it almost evened out if you're terrible at math.
Yeah. So you're still up. You're still up in gambling mentality.
Yeah.
Isn't that
That's
just
how
the
they
way,
get
though?
you, though. Yeah.
Anytime you ever talk to a gambler, you're like, oh man, I'm down 400, or it's always I'm up 200. But it's like, yeah, how much have you lost though?
I did play online bingo the other on Friday.
Zoom bingo?
Yeah, basically. They Facebook Live it out of Golden. And then I discovered I was like, played bingo. I was like, it was actually pretty good, lots of fun, and it's with the Rotary Club. So you're like, oh, it's going all to a good cause. But after half an hour, they were like, and only another 3 more hours of bingo. And I was like, fuck this. I am out.
Cash out.
This. Like,
That's why I lost at poker in Vegas, because I was like, oh, we're like, how long is this game going to last? And I'm like, I'll bet it all in, and then by the way, Zoom Bingo sounds like either like a search engine or some kind of workout class that you like. Are you going to Zoom Bingo
Trademark.
tonight?
We have been heavy in the Nicolas Cage review
Yeah.
realm lately. And so we decided to do, was it his first movie?
no, his first movie was, I think it was Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
No.
But he was like an extra in that.
Okay,
So it's
doesn't-
like,
this was his first lead though.
no, I
pretty
think Peggy
sure-
Sue got married. He was before
Really?
in that. Yeah.
I don't know.
God, my whole life is a lie.
It's very early in his career.
Yeah.
Yes, 1988.
Yeah.
It was, man.
He's 23 years old in it.
This movie was the
Yeah.
reason
Just like a
I
day over
found out.
33.
This movie was the reason, or how I found out that he was related to Francis Ford Coppola.
Oh.
Because I think I don't know, somehow that all. I think he got the role. There's another Coppola involved in the making of the movie.
Yes.
And yeah.
His brother has a small part in it. I had to watch it. I only watched it on YouTube.
His real brother, Nicolas Cage's brother.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
and he's a Coppola.
Yes.
And he's good.
Do you know which part it was?
It was when he first picks up the vampire at the bar. And there's also Ben Stiller's sister and David Hyde Pierce. And it's funny because they get pretty heavy credit on it. And then you realize you're like, oh no, they're extras. That's what you keep credit them.
Well, there was one guy I recognized. He was from the breakup with Jennifer Aniston and Vince Vaughn, where he's like the Gary, come.
Come, on the kick drum. Come, that's Gary. Come with the kick drum. Come with the kick drum, Gary.
He's telling this joke at the bar in Vampire's Kiss, and he's like, "Did you get it?"
That's Nicolas Cage's brother.
That's his brother.
Yeah.
Wow, they
That's
don't look-
Mark Cage.
they don't look
No,
anything
Mark Coppola.
They don't look anything alike.
There's no nepotism in Hollywood.
No, yeah,
No,
not
not
at
Not
all.
at all.
Well, especially
all
look at
random
Mark
chance, right?
Mark Coppola's first credit is Apocalypse Now, and you're like, how did he get that role?
I read about because there's the guy, the director and the producer of this film, and they're only known for this film, really. Like they've done some. It's just interesting. You go to see someone's like careers on Wiki because you're like career. Like, did he have one after
No,
he
no.
made
Yeah,
this?
just this.
But I do feel like you can make a ton of money. Like there's lots of guys who are like they go to Hollywood or a place like that as a writer maybe, and you work for 15 years, never get a single thing made, yet you make like $500,000 a year, and you're like, well, what are you doing? I just took another meeting, and cha-ching! I'm not gonna have to play online bingo. I made $500,000.
Let's go waste this on Zoom bingo. Well, this writer, I looked at the writer, and he'd only had a few credits before this, and then a couple after, and that was it.
Oh, yeah.
Guy only wrote like 9
That's
things.
not surprising. Last week we talked about the play. It had a budget of $4 million. This only had a budget of $2 million. Yeah, it was way earlier, so account for
Inflation.
Inflation.
It's easily a $5 million movie in 2003.
5, maybe 6 or 7.
But it's not. I did read Nicolas Cage took like no money for it. I think it was pretty big. It was breaking, but he took $40,000.
That's it?
That's it for the movie, and it was non-union. But I feel like he took it because he was like, I can do what I want if I do this for nothing.
He said it's his favorite acting part ever.
Yeah.
Out of everything he's done, 106 credits is his favorite part.
How much? Well, you've been on the Nick Cage like deep dive. So how much do you see of like Nicolas Cage to come in this movie? Like there's so.
At least 60%, if not 75% of his performance is the Nicolas Cage we know.
Oh yeah.
It's because but you don't see it until the first. I marked it down. Okay, hold on. Before we
All
get
right.
to 25 minutes in.
Wait.
Before we get started,
Yeah.
do one of you want to tell people, the realtors, what this is all about?
You go, Dave.
Oh, well, briefly, he's a real estate agent or entertainment guy.
He's in the literature
He's
business.
in the literature business,
Literature.
yeah. But he just his life is meaningless. He's just one night stands and cocaine, and then he meets this woman. He meets one woman, and their date goes weird, and a bat flies around his room. And he's got his psychologist that he talks to all the time, right, about his terrible life. So she gets introduced pretty early too, and then
First scene, yeah.
he goes on a date with another woman who's a vampire, apparently or allegedly, or not, because it's actually. This is actually
spoil
the
it,
movie is a study in mental degradation of young men in America. Right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what it really is. As a short. But then he goes crazy. He might kill someone. Kind of reminds me of American Psycho a little bit.
Well,
because at the end of that, you're like, did it happen?
Christian Bale actually said that he studied this movie researching the role of Patrick Bateman.
Oh.
Yeah, I dove deep in the trivia
He
about halfway
would.
through
He
this.
studies everything, though. That guy's so
That guy is
pretentious.
method as hell, man. Well, not method, but yeah, he takes it
He's a
seriously.
Methodist? He's a preacher?
Was a Jehovah's Witness.
I
man.
think if you're getting paid that much to be in a movie, that you need to be pretentious. Like if you're
Yeah.
that famous, you're allowed to take your stupidest thoughts seriously because they're worth hundreds of thousands of dollars each. Like when you watch these interviews with people that make, like Jim Carrey, and you're like, if he had you or our life, he'd be insane. He'd be that guy we don't talk to. He'd be like, that guy's fucking crazy, he needs help. But he just lucked. He got through the magic door.
But you have to indulge them, right? You're like, oh, he's the genius. You're gonna if Nick Cage wants to do whatever in this movie, if he wants to jump on a table or eat a cockroach, he's gonna do it.
Apparently, that took him 3 tries.
Yeah.
And people at PETA were like, "You ate a cockroach." I'm like, well, I don't know why you're mad at him. It's a cockroach. There's lots of them.
He also, you could watching that. I first saw the movie probably like 93, and I feel like that's the only thing I knew going in 93. I was 43 years old, and I feel like that was the only that was the thing that they promoted, because even then I knew like, oh, this is the scene where he eats the live cockroach. But you watch it now, and I was like, oh man, you see, it looks like because he. Like chews it, so he didn't enjoy it or savor it or anything. He was like, "Oh, I got to eat this fucking cockroach."
And apparently, he said he regretted it immediately after.
Would he swilled his mouth out with vodka? I think he just chased. vodka, cockroach chaser.
So yeah, this guy. So he's a bit of a ladies' man. So we start off. He's in a psychiatrist's office talking about his life, how he just wants the, he's like, So we get the idea that he just bangs women, wants them gone the next morning. So he has an encounter with a bat. This bat, I figured we would be revisited by this bat a few times. It's just one scene. Big ass fat bat shows up, scares the hell out of him. They leave.
What did you think about the bat special effects? Pretty amazing, huh?
Oh yeah, didn't look like a stringed up puppet at all.
It's like just a guy under the fishing rod behind the. Okay, the bat's gonna fly out the window. You get.
It kind of looked like a pug, like a dog. Like it was a fat bat. It wasn't the right. Like that's not a. It's no bat. Like when I've seen bats.
Yeah.
You go camping.
small.
They're tiny and they
Yeah.
kind of only come around when you turn
It was
the lights
a
out.
They're
it was a
cute.
stunt bat. It was a
stunt
rat that they stapled wings onto from.
It's
Maybe
one
it was like
jacked up bat, man.
Or they got one, they fed it, they drugged it like that pigeon later on.
Well, had the Nicolas Cage wanted a real bat, that I'd read something. He was like, I want a real bat, and everyone on the production's like, you can't. Bats are not trainable. We don't have a bat trainer. And he had they assigned a production assistant to be like his gopher guy. And at one point they're like, yeah, Nicolas Cage like gave him a broom and a box and was like, go down to the park and get me a bat.
I need a bat.
That's better.
Your Nicolas Cage is getting better. I like it.
Thank you.
I like it. What was up with his accent? And then I realized
Yeah.
in the trivia, it says it's a character choice.
Mm-hmm.
So this character felt like he wanted to sound more elegant when he was talking around other people that he thought were like
it's
important.
Especially as a psychiatrist, it comes on the weird. Like, that's the thing about the movie. I think it got shit on for a good 10 or 15 years. People just bagged on it. And then you watch it now and you're like, I mean, that's the thing that's called Real Garbage, the podcast. But this movie is actually really fucking good.
It's not garbage. Like I was expecting it to be like I only got like 3/4 of a page of notes because I was like, I'm going to watch this and enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
There are some ridiculous things that happen in it, but I started watching it again before you guys came over here today, and I was like, man, like you watch it the second time, it's like an onion. It's got layers. You're like, oh man, I didn't catch that the first time. This makes more sense now. I'm probably going to watch it again.
Yeah.
Just out of sheer enjoyment.
Did you watch it? Did you rent it, or did you watch it on just do the YouTube with the Hindi subtitles? What you did? You did not.
I acquired
Disclaimer.
it legally. I'm gonna blurp that. I'm gonna blurp it out. I'm gonna bleep it out. But I did. Yeah, I was watching it on YouTube today though.
I learned a lot of Hindi because I watched it with the
It's an
Hindi
important
subtitles.
skill, Yeah.
I was like,
Oh yeah,
oh.
you're like it's on YouTube. I'm like, where? And then I found it. Okay, there it is. And I'm like, oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I speak. I don't even know what that says.
No.
So there's a lot of back and forth to his psychiatrist's office, and he explains that he was turned on by the bat. There are a lot of things that I don't know really didn't make sense to me, like that.
I think editing has a lot to do with why a movie's bad too, though, right? Like his performance was definitely authentic, maybe over, but I think every performance of Nicolas Cage is over the top. Like he
has said that he doesn't like acting; he just plays himself. It was
what is
you
it?
that brought that up.
Yeah,
Which-
he's a
which is
shamanistic. What did he call himself? A shamanistic performance artist, and that's what he doesn't act.
He just plays himself.
But
you ever meet that guy at the bar on a Friday night downtown who describes himself as a shamanistic performer? Like I said, he slipped through the cracks, man.
Yeah.
They're
like, that'll get
He's
you
the guy
laid
you'd be like,
once
you
every 3 or
can't
4
know
years.
my home address, Mr. Nicolas Cage. You're bad juju. You don't come around my house, man. Fuck off.
Because there were a lot of parts where he was like, now he's in a bar, now he's at home getting ready, and then he leaves, then he's back in his apartment, now he's at the psychiatrist's office. I'm like, what? The?
And there
It's really hard
were
to follow.
odd scenes like after the bat comes through and he doesn't quite know what's going on. He hasn't met Jennifer Beal yet. So he hasn't been bitten. Jennifer Beals, who is Jessica Biel's aunt. No, it's not true.
I was trying, because I was like, why do I recognize that name? And I was like, is it her sister? Is it something no, she's a whole different Beals.
Yes, yeah, totally. They're
It's a Beal and a Beals.
Yeah, they're the New York Beals and she's an LA Beals.
West Coast.
A labial.
It's like Tupac and Biggie.
Yeah.
They got a rivalry.
She's exactly like Tupac and Biggie.
Just like he picks up the sock and he looks and he does a lot of those weird like contemplative, but I'm not sure what you're contemplating exactly. Your mental decline, I think.
He was looking for the Declaration of Independence then, just already in the. Maybe it's in the sock.
That's the connection. He's leading up to national treasure.
It's all foreshadowing.
I love that when the bat freaked him out, she ran outside. What was up with that kid? I thought we were going to see that kid again. Like there's a kid peeking down. I loved the way they filmed this movie. I will say that. Like there was a lot of elevated shots from high positions looking down on the scene. And I was like, that's kind of it's really creative. It's pretty cool. But that kid, I thought
is that to represent the point of view of the bat? I don't know.
Maybe the bat was in the hallway first.
It's another level of this movie that we haven't even gotten into. That's why it keeps, because you're right. It was panned originally. Like it didn't even make as much as it cost, I think.
Oh yeah.
And then slowly but surely, you know, people are like, hey,
I like this film.
I like this. Well, and it's like, you get into it.
The kid was the bat.
That was that kid was hoping for some 80s movie titty, I think. That's what he was, kind of curious peeping kid from upstairs.
Was that just a normal parent behavior? You just like let your kid hang out in the hallway in your building?
I think
back in the day?
In the 80s, yeah, for sure. You just don't.
What else is there to do if you live in New York other than let your kid hang out on the street?
It's true. That would be terrible.
That's city life, right? Like I lived downtown with my kids, you know, and I didn't have a yard, and it's the little things that you realize later about having a yard and living kind of out in the country, so to speak. But when you're downtown, you always need a fob to get into your place, and then you go up an elevator, and then the only places you go out for a walk, but you're in the city, so you can walk to a park. You know, but it's a real eye-opener. Like, I mean, my kids are young, and it's like, oh, what's that? And that man is smoking crack, son. This
is how your kids.
That's what happens down on Vancouver Street in Pandora.
You just keep them in the stairwell in New York City. You're like, this is the safest.
You're like,
place.
It's better than outside the stairs. You know,
set them free outside. That's how they become shamanistic actors.
When you're a kid, there's a whole world inside an apartment hallway, though.
That's true.
You know? You have your imagination. It's so much. I want my kid imagination back. Can we do a commercial for that?
No, yeah.
Kid imagination. Basically mushrooms.
Have you lost your kid imagination? Have you lost that wonderful sense of wonderment over the simplest things? Do you want to travel to the land of pure imagination? Well, then I have just the thing for you, friend. Hi, this is Joel Sherrington from Sherrington Not-A-Front Head Shop and Tobacco Supply Limited Liability Corporation, and I'm here to tell you about a brand new business endeavor I'm bringing right to you. Introducing mushrooms. That's right, guy. These babies will bring you back to the time before the crushing weight of adulthood and the impending doom of your own mortality took hold and drove you into a pit of distress and despair. You'll be flying high with my patented blend of South American cubensis and magic teachers. Watch all your worries, the walls, and everyone's face melt away as you're teleported to another plane of existence. Heck, you might even see God. Tell her I say hi, but don't take my word for it. Just listen to this testimonial from this random girl walking.
Ah! Get away from me.
Sorry, girlie. That's mushrooms. Available now at Joel Sherrington's Not-A-Front Head Shop and Tobacco Supply Limited Liability Corporation. You can find me in the 1987 white Chevy windowless van behind the strip club between the 8th and 19th Street Bottle Depot and the electric scooter repair shop on 47th Street between noon and 1. We accept all forms of payments, and I'll even trade you for other drugs if that's your style there, buddy. Bring drugs.
That's the adult version. Is like, do mushrooms, and then, oh yeah, right.
You know,
Missing that,
the world is a wondrous place.
Yeah, right.
I
have hope again.
You missing that spark of childish wonder? Try mushrooms. Woo!
I didn't know who, because I watched it twice, and then I start to question in the movie. I'm going, well, who is real in the movie? Because you get towards the end, there's so many spots on it. So did he see a psychiatrist? Like he did, but then, I mean, I'm way jumping the gun. But then at the end, I'm kind of going, did he have, was she actually a person?
Well, because they reveal at the end, like the one person, he meets Rachel here. Rachel takes him home, bites his neck. The next morning, he's serving coffee to nobody in bed. And I still didn't really pick up on what was happening at this point. This is like 20 minutes in, and he's talking to himself, then talking to her, like, here you go, honey. And then like starts shaking. I'm like, okay, that was weird. But because I don't know what to make of that, but I'll just continue on. And then he's back in the therapist's office, and he's like telling her, like, I met this woman. I was horny. I was keyed up. saw a bat. I was also horny.
So was she like,
Well,
because he sees her in the bar. I assume she's real when he sees her in the bar. He also sees her at the end in the nightclub, sees her again, and she's like, yeah, what's your, I can't even remember his name from the movie. Joe?
Peter Lowe.
Yeah, Peter, right? And I'm like, so she's
a vampire.
yeah.
I'm a vampire. He says that a lot of times.
Did
in
you
this
know
movie.
that they had considered? I loved how half the trivia was just who they considered for the role before
Dennis
Nicolas Cage.
Quaid?
Was Dennis Quaid in there? No.
Yeah.
I got Tom Holland.
That would have been great. It would have just been chug up. Yeah,
Wait.
so
Hold on. Oh, I was thinking Randy Quaid. Shit,
Ran-
was
oh.
full. I'm a vampire. Oh, she's a beauty, Clark. There was Tom Hollander, Judd Nelson, Sylvester Stallone,
Yeah.
Arnold Schwarzenegger,
Sylvester.
John Travolta. Oh my God, I'm a vampire.
But if any of those people had been in there's no way that would have been the same cult. Well, I don't know, but we wouldn't have been the same cult.
I don't know.
favorite movie it would
Sylvester
be now.
Stallone would have been pretty.
Hey, you want to go? I got my place around the corner.
Yeah, I was kind of turned
I'm a
on by that
vampire.
bat, you know. And
So this bat came into my place, huh? It's kind of turned on.
Like you just do the most greaseball. You're just like, oh, just got off the Jersey train, yo. Hey, Toots, I'm a vampire.
Alva, I got to find this contract. You got to go through these pieces of paper for me, huh?
I dated a girl briefly once who he had hit, like she was a model, or she had been a model at one point. Don't know how that happened to me, but
You're like, just wait, guys, wait. I dated a model.
I didn't
once.
say what kind of model.
She watched
She could have been.
She was
She was a hand model. We just noticed how we both, we're on the hand model right
Face
away.
like a truck.
Anyway, she was at a place in Toronto, and apparently he was hitting on her like hard, and like I was already older than this chick by like good 10 years. So Sylvester Stallone's easily like 40 years old, and she was just her description of him that was she's like he's pretty greasy, but he's also Stallone. So
Yes.
I mean he's famous, so he's kind of like you're gonna sleep with me, yeah. Like,
Yeah. Well, there
that's
is
kind of how
that.
this works, right? It's like.
Not only that, like I'm famous and I got money, and I'm like, hey, you want to say you fucked Rocky?
I won
I
an
mean-
Academy Award. Come on.
Guys do it without money or before fame. We're like, hey, look at me, babe. Like, you can tell your friends you got with this. And they're like,
Can we say he is officially the worst boss in the entire world?
oh, yeah.
What an asshole.
So,
What was her name? Because I was trying to remember it and then
Alva?
I lost it. Alva.
Alva?
See, I was trying to think of that with the Rocky thing because I
Yeah.
was like, that would have been great. Like, yo, Alva. Yo, Alva.
This is 25 minutes in. This is where we get the first hint of him, like his Nicolas Cage coming out.
Oh.
Am I getting through to you, Alva?
He had that scene, which I don't know. We're all over the fucking map. That's all right. But
That's like this movie. We're
he
all
had
over the
he had
place.
this scene where he jumped up on the desk. And he does his thing like, hell of a contract. And she runs off. He chases her into the ladies' room. And then immediately he just is like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I don't know what I'm doing. And turns around and leaves.
Because he's gone back after we see the first hint of him. He goes home, so this is the weirdest thing, the weirdest sequence. He goes home, makes a phone call to Jackie, the chick that he took on a date to the art gallery and just left. Was like, oh, I got to take a piss. And
Ghosted.
leaves. And she's like, yeah, fuck you. I'm not going to see you again. Then he's in his apartment like, oh, fuck you too, bitch. And then this elevated camera. Then he goes to his building, uses the kid, uses the phone, calls her, is like, oh, meet me at 9:00. And then he leaves his building, and then he's in his apartment doing his hair. I'm like, what the?
What happened?
Weren't you just at home?
That is, but
He
Dave,
lives
why'd
really
you
close
leave?
to all these locations, is what it is. The bar is downstairs from his apartment. His
forth.
work is across the road.
Whose lobby
And-
phone was he using? Like,
yeah,
where
because
did he
that
go?
was not in his apartment building was quite nice. He just stumbled into some random Bowery
Bowery?
David Dive
Bowery?
Hotel. David, yeah, that's it.
David Bowery.
That's
So, much less known.
That's right. His His younger brother.
He just walked into somebody's hotel or like apartment and started using the phone. I'm like, all right, cool.
But also, too, I like the Jackie lady. I thought she was a very nice girl, but also, you should not have given him a second chance. Girlfriend.
A lot of red flags in this movie. Also, if a woman like turns you into a vampire,
Yeah, red flag.
red flag. Just,
Okay, hold on. Why do the bite marks never seem to line up properly on a neck when they
And-
bite somebody in a movie?
Do the
no
fangs
good
grow?
orthodontist, vampire orthodontist.
Nosferatu.
Nos-
But I mean, like when he uncovers his original bite mark, the teeth are like this. So are you biting the neck like? You're getting in there like this. So they should be one above the other, but no, they're side by side. And you're
How do you? That's good. That's good logistic.
that's
They've
just
come,
my,
they've
that's just
come
my
a long
technical
way.
observation.
They've come a long way from Nosferatu to this movie to Interview with the Vampire. I think they were pretty much getting it right by then. They had the
think so.
right angle.
I'm gonna have to go back
know.
through the archives and look. We did Interview with the Vampire. No, we did Bram Stoker's Dracula. Pretty sure they nailed it on that one.
Was it like? Yeah, you want them one above the other, not like this.
You
You're trying
can't
to
bite a
awkward.
neck like. All right, it doesn't work, and I gotta get.
Speaking
you
of
gotta go
Bram
to the side.
Stoker, because that's Keanu, who we were discussing Keanu Reeves earlier, and he's still pretty Bill and Ted era Keanu Reeves,
yeah.
and that like he does is.
This is the 1800s. Thou's got to go to the castle.
I'm trapped in this
Actually,
castle.
doesn't he do a really bad English accent? And
Yeah.
that's
yeah.
it's
Well,
a-
sometimes it's an English accent,
and then he
other
just
times
loses
it's
it. Yeah, he just kind
My
of
dearest Catherine, I'm stuck in this castle. Castle. Whoa. Castle. Whoa.
But I do like that I hear Keanu Reeves is supposed to be the sweetest guy, so that gets him a pass for all his shitty acting. He's like all the stuntmen on the Matrix. He's like, you guys all get sweet custom Harley Davidsons. Like,
Well, he's got his own like sweet custom motorcycle company. He
Oh.
makes like these badass.
that's not that impressive. Then that's
You're like,
that's like Elon Musk
can-
giving you a
I can write
Tesla.
him
You're
off.
like, yeah, fucking Tesla. You give everybody a Tesla, Elon. Come on, I want a
He
rocket.
isn't giving me a Tesla. I'd like to have one.
No,
oh, and then he goes in. There was the scene in the boardroom, I think, after he chases Alva into the washroom.
Oh, yes.
And all the boys are joking about it. They're like, oh, and then you didn't see how terrified for her life she was. Oh, you.
Wait, was my name written on the wall in there? And what did it say?
Yeah, just like the worst. But I think that's part of the movie. You're like, oh, look at these misogynistic assholes.
That was the way things were back then.
Oh yeah,
we say that now.
Sad
Yeah,
as
and
that
that
was.
was just like all boardrooms in New York in is the 90s or 80s? This kid?
88.
Late 80s. Yeah,
Long
like
for the
that's
good
right
old
up there
days.
with Wall Street. and that
Coffee
kind of-
is for closers. Put that coffee down.
the only thing that was missing there was just them just like doing like
Yeah. Key
bumps and like
drink, smoking cigars. And then I didn't realize this is where his meme, that Nick Cage meme came from, the really freaky face.
I missed the meme when it went around.
It's still around. I'll send it to you.
Okay.
I
It's
missed the
there.
meme too. I
That's
think.
where
But
he's-
that's probably my favorite scene in this movie is when he starts going on about the file and A goes where A goes. And he goes to the.
B, C, D, E, F, G.
But I like
You know your ABCs, yes.
ever once misplaced a file. Ever once, never. Also, hot trivia piece during the love scenes. Nick Cage apparently liked warm yogurt poured on his feet so he could get into the scene. So I'll continue.
Whoa.
Just kidding.
Is this like a fact?
We need
Yeah,
to
it was-
revisit warm yogurt on the feet.
I just think it's just a weird method thing to be like, pour, like, what's going to get you in the scene? What's going to put you into character? Pour warm yogurt on my bare feet. Just so, I mean, and it's probably, and you're right. Like now, as soon as that's implanted in your head, you're like, I think I might get some yogurt tomorrow and see what's up with that.
If you were to ask me, hey, Jeff, how could you get into this sex scene? I don't know. She could just take her top off.
Yeah.
That would work. I think I could. We have to pretend to have sex. I think I can.
I
get
think,
into it.
I wonder about acting because, like, you know, that's the whole thing is that you're not like it's a sex scene, so like you're not into it because it's film, it's work, right? Like, and that's the thing is like as a I'm a heterosexual guy, so like to me, I kind of have the same answer in my head, like how would you get into that? Well, I'd be like, well, I'd be into it because
There's a hot naked.
it's like you get
lady.
to pretend to, you're gonna make it like you know. I have heard of some movies where they've actually. Not porn, you know what I mean? But they're like, oh, they actually, or a lot of times famous people will develop relationships because they're a romantic couple in the movie. And you can tell when they like there's the one with Angelina Jolie and Johnny Depp, and you're like, ooh, you two are not attracted to each other no matter what this fucking script says.
Was that
It's the Tourist?
The Tourist.
Oh,
That movie wasn't bad.
But they had no chemistry. Like they just sort of went in
it was
and
like
punch card, clock in, clock out. You're so beautiful.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he is. It's funny because, like, you kind of think of them as being from the same. He's very the opposite of Brad Pitt, who she was with when she was acting that movie, right? She was married. They're not together. But you know what I mean? Like, Johnny Depp is very not Brad Pitt, even though they're both these huge sex symbols in their own, know.
But they both look like they're very dirty and smell.
And, I was talking about this with my girlfriend last night because we were talking about some other actresses or whatever. And Angelina Jolie is another one that, like, I get that it does nothing. It hasn't,
No.
I mean, like,
She's a very
I'm
praying
sure she
mantis.
doesn't care, She's a praying mantis. Yes, like a praying man. I don't know. She just, there's lots of female actors that are supposed to be super hot. It's like Beyonce. Like, I'm just not, like, I love the songs. I'll go pay money to
like
see
her
her sing.
work.
Yeah. But,
Just would never date her because she's a troll.
yeah.
She doesn't do it for me.
I think I could get over it pretty quickly.
But
I
it-
haven't met her face to face.
Yeah.
Face-to-face conversation changes everything for
That's
her. So
true.
who knows? So Angelina
Absolutely.
Jolie could just. I don't think it's I don't have to worry about that happening, thankfully.
Well, see, I thought kind of the same thing where everyone was like, oh my God, Angelina Jolie's the hottest thing ever. And I was like, yeah, whatever. Then I saw The Tourist and I was like, damn, she looks good in that movie.
How do we go? We started off with hot yogurt.
Yeah.
And then now we're on Angelina Jolie.
Naturally, hot yogurt, Angelina Jolie.
And what was funny is you were like, I think I'm going to, it makes me think about going to get some hot yogurt. And I'm like, that just doesn't, that's never going to get me in the mood for, I just want to know the connection.
Not ropes of warm yogurt flicked
Ropes
on your
of-
chest.
Why on
No?
your feet, though? Like, why the feet? He says on his feet. you
Yeah,
said,
on
right?
his feet. And that's why in those sex scenes, there's no shot, like pan, hold back shots of the whole thing because you got some AD over there like, oh, how's that, Mr. Cage?
Oh, yeah. Dump a little more on there. Oh, what flavor?
What?
Plain?
Vanilla or strawberry, of course. The only flavors of yogurt.
Ooh, I would think the smell, the combination of feet and vanilla would just ruin
hot or
yogurt.
warm?
Warm yogurt.
Yeah, like it's hot yogurt, that'd just be painful. And that brings up a whole nother series of questions.
Oh, he likes it
it's
like
Like
that.
scalding hot. I want you to burn my feet with yogurt.
It's the only way I can get into it.
But it's funny that you bring
I
that.
don't want to diss anyone for their thing either. Like
Yeah.
whatever floats your
Not
boat,
kink
right?
shame.
We
Shaming.
don't kink shame on the Real Grinders
Not
podcast.
No. I'm just discovering I'm so meat and potatoes as I hear about these things. I'm
Just
like,
just
what about titties?
missionary, 2.5 minutes, done. Thank you very much.
Dave just prefers meat and potatoes dumped on his feet to get him in the mood.
Cold though. I want yesterday's meat and potatoes mushed up
And then-
on my feet.
And then ropes of warm gravy slung on your chest.
I love this metaphor. I've never thought of yogurt or gravy as being a rope of something, but this is a whole new way of
So
back to Nick Cage and lovemaking.
So-
However,
Alva decides after getting reamed out by him with the crazy face that she's going to stay home, and he's like, oh. And he goes to her house and is like, I'm so sorry for the way I acted. I want to patch things up. Manages to get her back to work, gets her in the cab, and then completely turns into another person.
Yeah.
At this point, I'm going, oh, okay, it's a split personality thing. He's two different people.
Because he does start dropping the C word a little bit in reference to Alva, which I was like, oh no, that's why I got an R rating back in the day. And then also, which that was the setup, stopping at her brother's gas station, whatever it was, mechanic shop,
That was after he started puking blood in the backseat.
which is the shittiest looking garage mechanics I've ever seen in my entire life. It'd be like, oh, I'll just push my car 30 miles home. I'm not taking it there. But they can fix it. They have tools. I'm like, that looks like I'm going to get stabbed in that place.
Probably get it for pretty cheap, though.
Yeah.
We'll fix your car and we'll stab you for free.
It's a grimy place. There's no clean, like if I went to a garage and everything was spotless like an Apple store,
It's a front.
I'd be like, fucking out of here. Like, you guys can't fix
They don't
anything.
fix anything.
Catalytic converter, cap rotators busted. That's going to cost you $1,200. And then there's the exhaust fan blower, mechanic
I fall
mechanism.
for that all the time.
What is
It's gonna
it
be
about that
$2,000 right
we
there.
kind of accept that? Like, mechanics is one of these things. Like, if you don't know, you're kind of just hope. It's,
You don't get ripped off too bad.
yeah, like,
Yeah.
when are we going to take legal action against this?
I like those are that show that they did at a, whatever, Ottawa, where they would send guys into the gas station. So they'd send let's pick up a guy, let's put him in some overalls, grease him up, send him in. They take the same car in. He's like, nothing wrong with the vehicle. I'll put air in your tires for $5. That's good. Then they get a blonde girl in a business suit, blonde woman in a business suit, send her in. He's like, I don't know if we can get this thing running. It's going to be a lot of money.
That's
costs
like, what
$8,000.
is that Pamela? No, not Pamela Anderson. It's a Canadian newswoman. She always did those. Pamela
Yeah.
something or other.
Pamela
She was,
Wallen?
Wallen's the one that was married to Peter Mansbridge.
What?
Yeah, he's punching way out of his league, like
Totally.
hugely.
Well, Mansbridge was the man, though.
I get. Well, apparently he was.
Yeah.
So, you know,
It's getting Pamela Wallen.
Was he Pamela
he was
Wallen?
given Pamela Wallen.
So she gets some blanks from her brother because she wants real bullets. Because my boss is a psycho.
Oh, yeah.
I need some bullets for this gun. He's
Oh,
like, put
yeah.
that goddamn thing away. Here's some blanks then. Bitch.
And that adds, so that ties into his. You're right. The split person, like it already. We see his psyche fracturing.
Yeah.
and that is a defining moment when he shoots himself, and they're blanks. So he thinks he's he thinks he's now immortal and a vampire, and he can't die because he's convinced he shot himself, but it just didn't do anything. 'cause
And
he-
runs around the street again for the 7th time going, I'm a vampire.
I'm a vampire. I said that as almost as many times as I said I was 46 in our last show. I think I said that about 40 times.
I will make a
Did you watch it?
compilation of
Because
it.
I said
No.
it. I watched it. The first thing I texted Jeff was like, dude, I say I'm 46 like fucking 80 times, and he's like, and I edited some of them out because we were talking about life experience, and I kept on just going, well, I'm like 46, right? Because that's my way of saying like I'm fucking old.
Yeah.
But I think
Well,
I
we
said
can
it
see
like,
you're back, obviously.
back. I tried to fit it in. We're gonna do a reel at some point later where he's just.
I don't think you've said it once on this episode. Yeah, or maybe you have once.
Well, now I have in reference to.
Now you're conscious
There,
of
it
it.
was a conscious. I was like, okay, don't. It doesn't. Nobody cares, Dave. Nobody cares. 46, man. You'd be 45, 47, 25. Who cares? You're old.
I'll make a compilation. Don't you worry. So yeah, this is where. Just imagine Arnold Schwarzenegger walking around the street screaming that he's a vampire in this instead.
Just imagine. I can't imagine that. I think that probably happens in his neighborhood on a monthly basis, where they're like,
Scares the children.
"That's just Cage fucking going off again," monthly sort of occurrence.
He would be a terrible neighbor. I do get the impression. Nicolas Cage, he'd be
He's
like,
had to sell if you had some money, like for a rich person, he had some money problems, right?
Oh,
Because
yeah.
he goes through money like an idiot, right? And then, but it's always like these people are like, well, he's lost all his money, and I'm like, yeah, but sell a couple mansions and you're a millionaire again. And
we've discussed his horrible gambling addiction, which we think, I don't know if that's true or not.
which is
but
why he's capable of pulling off a role like Leaving Las Vegas. So, like, that's a Oscar-worthy role, and it's amazing that the guy has what range, what amazing to do such terrible acting and such amazing acting all in the same lifetime. Total range.
Well, and that's what. Has anyone watched Captain Cordelline's Mandolin or whatever the fuck it's called?
Oh, yeah, Corelli's
sounds made
mandolin.
Yeah. I butchered the name.
I
for
think I
sure.
fell asleep in it several times.
But it feels
yeah.
like that was a very
It was
straight
on.
role that he should be like, you're just going to be a leading man. Don't do any, you're going to sign the contract. You want to pay off your bill at the fucking whatever.
Bellagio.
Then no
They were like,
caging.
You wanna pay off these Zoom bingo
I wonder
debts?
if that's in any of his. They're like, no caging. It's,
You signed the contract, Nick. So
I'd be willing to take a pay cut for some more cage. Like, my cage is based on Adam. from Saturday Night Live who always does impressions.
Sandler?
Sandler. I do Andy Samberg doing
Samberg.
Nicolas Cage. That's as close as I can get to Nicolas Cage. But I do a bad Andy Samberg doing Nicolas Cage.
So
but that's
so
what
you
I
get
base
right
it off
there.
of.
It's almost the Ouroboros of
Which is
of
probably
Cage
would be like
impressions.
Cage's method of parodying himself.
Oh, I liked his couch coffin. When he started to think he was a vampire and he's sleeping under his leather couch.
And it has a coffin creak to it when he lifts it up. And then and I
That
noticed
apartment
that
gets bad real
Oh,
quick. eh?
Yeah. that scene, he trashed that himself. There was no stuntman, and it was one take. There was 2 cameras in that scene, and he smashed one. It was like the director was like, I don't know why I let him do that. It was cool, but it was like I shouldn't have let him do that.
Which is weird because I would think that would be the great thing about being an actor is I get to fuck up this apartment. But then I guess that you don't realize you're like, oh yeah, but if that piece of glass comes down and slices open the artery of your star, you're in a lot of trouble. But that seems like the fun thing to do. It's like, give me a baseball bat.
I wonder if because they have the bottles that are fake, the smash glass so it doesn't hurt you, right? They do that kind of stuff for stunt stuff all the time. So are all the things we see, fake?
But they weren't in that because I know what Jeff's talking about was he said, yeah, all that stuff, the glass tabletop, the mirrors, all that shit was all real. And that's why the director was like, afterwards, like, yeah, I shouldn't have done that. Let him go.
He got really hurt.
Well, a lot of guys do their own stunts. That's not so much a stunt as just
I can do my own stunts if it's smashing up an apartment.
I absolutely would. Oh, I absolutely would. Smashing stuff is fun. So now we're getting to the point where he's roaming around the street. He eats a pigeon. He didn't know the pigeon was drugged. Apparently,
Yes, that's the only way you're gonna catch a pigeon. And but there's a couple of scenes like a couple of really like good.
You mean they did it, like the directors, the people in charge, and they drugged it so that he could catch?
Yeah.
Which should
but
be great.
They didn't tell him. We're like they didn't want to hurt his ego.
Well, they're like, well,
Catch that one there, Nick.
we
Catch
already
that one
tried to explain the bat thing to him, and that was a no go. So
Yeah.
he wanted a pigeon. We figured, okay, we got to get him a pigeon. Just give it some drugs.
But there's a few good scenes like where he drops to his feet in the cross, sees the cross outside of the. So he's actually thinking like when he goes in and buys the teeth, and doesn't have enough money to buy the really good porcelain teeth, and has to buy the plastic, shitty dollar store teeth. It's so good.
Which is weird because if he's a literary mogul who can do cocaine and bang chicks every night of his life, why doesn't he have enough money to?
No ATMs.
No, wait. Oh, right.
Right.
It's
No tap back in
Right.
'88. I don't.
Needed cash. Cash was king.
Cash.
Yeah.
Good old cash.
I'm guessing.
No, that makes perfect sense. Yeah.
God, we're so lucky now not having to walk into a bank to get money.
Yeah, I have no idea how much money I spend at all. It's great. I just keep going. It still works. Great. It still works. Fantastic.
Oh, I started using Samsung Pay. Now I get a text every time I spend money.
Oh.
It's almost, they've done it on purpose like that. Because it's like, oh, you get a little notification. You don't want to look at how much you spent. You just want to feel that, dopamine. Sweet.
That's some money.
I'll look at it later. Because nobody texts me.
The other thing I want to say just about Nick Cage too was his after he tries to kill himself with the gun and it's the blanks, and then he's so upset he cries and he goes, "Boo hoo!"
Yes.
Boo hoo!
So now this is where he plows through the lineup of people outside the bar and fights I love how he just punches the bouncer and just runs through. It's like, nice.
Now, Dave, can someone punch a bouncer and then run into the nightclub and not get tossed out? Is that
Well,
a thing?
not for a long time that I've seen. Like, it'd have to be a pretty, I don't know.
Can someone assault a bouncer and then not all the other bouncers murder him in a back alley?
Well, you're taking, like, I mean, those guys, there's only a few bars downtown that have used them regularly. But I remember back in the day, Steamers, they would have bouncers on there. And those guys are just jacked up. Like, they have that job because they want to fight. Mm-hmm. Like, they work at the gym all day. This is their other job. And there was a couple guys, who like that, but you could tell, like, they're on it.
They're like, give me a reason. Give me a reason.
Yeah.
Punch in the stomach.
In fact, I remember my buddy brought, I I can't remember what he brought us, some rum or something. He brought a Mickey to the bar. You know, he snuck it in, and he was like, yeah. And I was like, well, you know, let's go drink it in the bathroom, right? And then I had a swill, and then he had a swill. And as soon as he had a swill, the bouncer walked in, and he just like took him in a headlock and took him outside right away. Like there was no arguing, questioning. Just his judge and jury right there. So no, I don't think
Folded
that
him in half and put him under his arm.
Yeah, pretty
and
much
carried him
just, you know.
outside.
And then and like a cunt, I stayed at the bar. I was like, "I'll catch you later, bro."
He didn't drag you out. It's not your fault.
I was like, "But I don't know anything about that bottle of whiskey. I was coming in here to do some blow." Yeah, well,
You want
bouncer be into that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, bring alcohol in here. Drugs, though, for sure. So
I wanted to say that word because you said the C word earlier, and I was like, but that was in the day.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
see, in the 80s, you couldn't say it, but
No, now it's
you know,
fine.
and I was married to a British woman once, so it's kind of like my kids were saying it when they were 3. And
Yeah.
oh, he's a nice out cunt.
Yeah.
It's a term of endearment, isn't it?
Yeah, oh, my uncle, he's a nice out cunt.
He's a
Yeah.
cheeky cunt.
Bit of a cunt.
Bit of a cunt.
Which
Oh,
is like
cunt.
it's so, and then they over here in North America though everyone's assholes tighten up and they go, ooh, it said the C word.
I'm triggered.
But I think that's because they also will include words like I remember this one aunt of my ex-wife's would say, like, you know, she'd be like, oh, stop being so obstreperous. You know, the words like those. So if you can say obstreperous in conversation, you can also say cunt.
I don't
because
know what obstreperous means.
It's kind of like difficult or like...
Oh, so he's being an extreperous cunt then.
Yeah, like bodily, yeah, very obstreperous cunt. It's just like kind of like annoying and difficult and
Yeah.
overbearing. Yeah,
Put those two
loud.
together, obstreperous cunt, and everyone's just like,
Yeah,
ugh.
actually, I think
You're
that's
so fancy.
There's a pub called that just down the road from where her mum lived. Is the obstreperous cunt? No seats.
Yeah, no.
Standing room only. Welcome to the fuck off. Welcome to the obstreperous cunt.
Yeah.
You fucking cunt.
What would you like? You got a beer.
Well,
That's it.
this described. Okay, my first time in England that I ever went there. This described the whole country to me, like in its current state. It was London. I was walking downtown, and a group of like, you know, possibly 12, whatever age kids, 12, 13, 14, young boys running down the street who like over here would be like cute, you know? And this one kid just looked at me and was like, fucking Tossa. And I was like,
Like-
whoa, like just out of nowhere and right by me, you know? And I was like, so, okay, that's what
That's
the kids
my
are like in
introduction.
England. Now let's meet the adults.
So he's in the club here. He's walking around like very Nosferatu-esque.
Right.
Eyes bulging,
yeah.
teeth sticking out of his mouth.
So good.
Heads to the back, finds some...
Full on delirium at this point.
Oh, absolutely. Finds
Yeah.
some maiden doing cocaine in the back and is like, "Man, I want to hang out." And then
I need
Kinda.
shoes.
he gets in sideways there, so he gets the holes lined up.
Yeah.
But it doesn't like that.
But he's using his real teeth because it's just the plastic teeth that he has in. Right?
Yeah.
Does he?
So
take
he
them-
thinks
did
he
take them out?
nobody like. I mean, those things would, you know. There's a bit of movie like those would bust.
Yeah, I would think so. Well, that's one question that I had was, do you think you could puncture a neck with those plastic novelty teeth? And I was like, I don't think
If
so.
they were covering,
Can't say
your
I've been
own
trying,
teeth,
but my guess is no.
challenge accepted. I think if your teeth are
I brought
inside those
2
teeth,
pairs of
Okay,
novelty
here we're
plastic
trying
teeth.
this out tonight.
I think you could.
Yeah, and because when
At
he
the
pulls
right
away
angle,
from
at the
her-
right angle, sharp plastic will cut you.
Yeah.
when she's dead, because she does die, and you do see the puncture wounds. So I guess you just have to, you know, Shakespearean suspend your disbelief and go like, okay, yeah, those were sharp enough that he was able to fuck her up.
And then this is where he sees. Does he just turn around and leave, and he sees Rachel in the crowd?
Yeah, Rachel. No, he sees Rachel, fantasy Rachel, vamp Rachel comes up and berates him. Is like, "You're a piece of shit with your plastic teeth, you loser, you cunt, you obstreperous cunt, you wanker." And then she leaves, and as he's getting dragged out, he sees the real Rachel, who's kind of sorta remembers him a little bit, but not really. And then he gets yoinked out of the bar.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think. So I think you could puncture skin with those plastics, but you can't kill someone with them.
Well, you could. They'd bleed out. You'd have to be able to tear away and rip the jugular, I think,
I
and
think
then
as long as you puncture the jugular, it's game
yeah.
over.
I think this is way harder than you think it is. I don't
I don't
see
know. I've
it.
never bitten a lot of necks. I don't know.
No, I'm not I'm usually a bitey, not a biter. Yeah.
And you know what? You could actually, if he'd used his real teeth and he had sort of ripped and torn flesh away, went more werewolf
Like a real
than vampire. She probably would have. But yeah, the puncturing with the plastic teeth is not gonna. Maybe. I mean, you got to play that. You got to play that jugular like a banjo string. It's not gonna puncture very easily.
It's probably more.
Although you get
than we
one,
think.
if you get one good, I as we talked in construction, I work with glass. I seen one guy get a cut right on the right vein, and the blood like bloop, bloop, it shoots out like the force of your heart. That's how the blood's coming out. So if you hit the right vein in the right way, like, because me, like an idiot, was just like, holy shit. Whereas someone far more responsible with me was like, tore his shirt off and made him a tourniquet right away. You know, it was like, are you crazy, man? Like, and I'm like, wow, you know. Yeah, sorry, you would have died if I was my watch. Sorry, bro.
He is going to bleed out.
Yeah. Wow. Should I be filming this?
TikTok.
Yeah. So can you tell me, subscribe?
Feel free to leave us a comment if you know if it's possible to bite through a jugular with plastic teeth. So this next scene, I didn't know this was the movie, but this scene of him dragging he kicks that piece of a pallet off, makes himself a steak, and starts yelling at people to kill him. Kill me with the steak, I'm a vampire! And then he's dragging through the street going, ah! I loved it.
That's a part of the trivia thing, right? Because he did it to two actual street homeless people or something, or just two people that weren't part of the movie, and they filmed it from afar so that they were genuinely surprised.
Yeah, they ran around him. You could see that I was keeping an eye out for that one. You can see them. They look pretty terrified. But I'm like, also, do you not have to approach them afterwards and be like, oh, by the way, you're going to be in a feature film? And
though they probably signed. I mean, the people who were in Borat signed off.
Right.
So, I mean, I think they were loaded when they got them to sign off. Because could you, oh, that's not fair. You know, like if you're fucking trash, like blackout trash, and someone's like, hey man, like the amount of times I would be in some serious shit.
Yeah, if someone's like, sign this.
If I was just signing things willy nilly when I was blackout drunk, like there's a good 15-year period there where it's be like, hey, do you remember doing this?
Like,
well, everyone does now.
I can't get a job.
So he ends up back in his apartment. No. He's still on the street. And this is where we find out that the psychiatrist is imaginary. Sorry, did I miss something?
No, but I was going to say, that's where I was like, is the psychiatrist, because that is the most hilarious scene where they cut back and forth between him with the caked blood on his mouth talking to the wall. And then they go into the psychiatrist's office and he's all very suave and done up and having the same conversation.
Is she fake though, or is that just is he in full dimension now and we're just seeing it from his point of view? But what is that? That's like dramatic irony or whatever, where they have to film it from the viewpoint of the character. That's what we're seeing. We're not objective anymore. We're now in the fantasy. Right?
I thought at that point that he had imagined her the entire movie.
That's what I was.
That they're just showing that he has completely lost his mind, being this man trapped in New York in this cycle of going out and fucking and doing drugs and being unfulfilled. I don't know. That was my that's what it felt
You're
like.
You're wrong,
to me.
Jeff.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
Idiot.
Yeah, well,
no, but that's what I didn't know. Like, I'm still kind of like, if someone said, "No, she's real" for the first part, and he just lost his mind and then was talking to the wall, thinking it was her, or if someone, "No, she's been imaginary the whole time."
That's
I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah."
But it could
I go either way.
It could be either. I think that's what this movie is like you can draw your own conclusion
it's
at
a
the end.
choose your own adventure.
It is.
Open to interpretation.
Yeah, I like it. That's what makes it so good.
It needs something to make it good.
It was. No. I will stand by this film. I'm like,
I did enjoy it.
I mean, I brought it up to you, and I watched it again while preparing for this, like as poorly prepared as I am. But I still, it wasn't something that I said to myself, well, that is something I never need to watch again. You know, like
You didn't say that.
I didn't say that about this movie. You know, like it wasn't. Yeah,
That's good.
I'm gonna
It
make my
was well
children
done.
watch us every week.
I'm gonna
like-
share it with people.
like-
for sure.
Yeah.
Every
like
week.
Captain Corelli's mandolin. I was like, well, that was
Snoozorama.
yeah. That was I'll never get that time back.
Well, see, the reason I think she was imaginary is because now he's saying, I just want this and this and this. And she goes, oh my God, had I known that, I would have just introduced you to my next patient. Sharon, she's perfect for you. And then she shows up, she's like, I like long walks on the beach, and I like this and that. And he's like, oh my God, those are all the things that I enjoy as well.
So really, it's a love story. So really, it's just a lesson of, you know,
Except when he's
don't
walking-
date toxic people that bite your neck and turn you into a vampire.
just don't go out repeatedly every night doing cocaine and just fucking random chicks because you're going to go crazy.
Unless that's her thing.
Well, it works for a while.
What,
Works
they're
for a
going
while.
crazy
Doesn't
or
work
the,
Worked for Ozzy for a decade, you know.
Sharon! Oh, wait. Whoa. Hold on. Is that the connection?
I
The
feel like
Bat,
that's a put on.
Ozzy, Sharon?
I feel like Ozzy's a bit of a put on. His
lunacy?
I mean, it'd have to be, you know, for a TV show. I feel, like I said, we discussed this before. We talked about the airport thing where I came in and then the news was like, can you redo that moment with your family? And I was like, no. You know, and so I don't believe, my girlfriend and I argue about this, not argue, but I'm always like, I don't believe any reality TV.
Oh, it's all.
I don't think
all
any of
fake.
it's real. It's
all
not
fake.
Yeah, they're all people that want to be actors, and
Yeah.
they didn't become actors because they're not as talented. So they get on reality TV shows.
and then parlay that into a fire TikTok career. Because there was a guy the other night, my wife was watching something, and there's a guy, she goes, oh, this guy's been on 90 Day Fiance 3 times. And I'm like, exactly that same thing. You're like, oh, so he wants to be a celebrity. He just can't get a part in a movie.
that's-
So
all the Food Network people, I watch that shit all the time, and they're
Yeah.
all on all the other shows. The career is being on every Food Network show. Right?
honestly, I would love that career.
It'd be pretty good. If I, you know, I can cook pretty good food, but I just don't have the, I mean, as big as an ego I don't have the egomaniacy needed to have constant validation in order to be famous.
I can do that. I can go a little bit of crunch on the outside, soft on the inside, good, and a little bit of that pepper heat. Oh, that's
Do you know what
great.
that had? That's my favorite one. It's so much umami. I have the umami is like the catchword of the fucking.
Oh, is that mouth? That's mouthfeel, right?
Umami is like savoriness.
Oh.
I guess, but it's just the
It's like the
new word for
mystery-
savory because Julia Childs would have said savory, and there's even a herb called savory. It's savory. There's
So is
you know,
umami like the fifth mystery flavor? Is that the one?
it's not like a mystery, but it
It's
is
umami.
the fifth flavor.
Umami sounds
There's
like
salt,
a sushi.
sugar, vinegar, salt, sugar, acid.
Sour.
Yeah, or sour is salt, sugar, sour, something else, and umami.
And blood.
And blood.
Human blood. So this, okay. Now, I was at the last scene, the brother breaks in and
Yes.
stakes him.
Oh, right,
Oh,
because
yeah.
Does
he
he
did.
stake him, though?
He did assault
Alva.
Alva.
Oh,
So
yeah?
the brother
Well,
took
he
revenge.
did. I love that quote. I mean, he did assault his sister. So
That's right.
But what I'm saying is he stakes him, but then the camera zooms out and he's not there.
Right. So did
Brother's
he?
not there. So did the brother actually stab him or did he stab himself?
Right.
This is like another thing where you're like, I think he killed himself. I think the brother was imaginary. I think it was all imaginary in his head.
Was Alva real?
I don't know.
Alva sounds like a code name for another part of his personality.
That's right.
And that's why he's having so many troubles with the file because it's really its own fucking file.
Yeah.
He's getting mad at himself. Can't.
Alva!
There you are. That's what I think it was. That's what I think it was. I think he imagined everything. But leave a comment below if you know if we're wrong. I start telling
Oh, you'll
people
get a
comment
lot. That's
I
get
hope
some
so.
comments.
Yeah, comment below what you think this movie was about.
Just comment. Just say anything. Like, just
Like the
helps the
John
algorithm.
Cusack movie.
spell out.
Saying.
Call us cunts. Call us obstreperous.
Tell us where we can
one letter
find-
at a time.
We'll take comments from Russian bots. That's A-okay.
That's basically what it is.
Yeah.
And that was Vampire's Kiss.
It was a very good movie. Watch it.
It was.
Definitely.
I
Yeah.
recommend it. 100%. What do you guys real rate this?
Yeah, I'll go. I got my real rating was I give it like 9 novelty plastic vampire teeth out of 10 boo-hoos.
I love how you gave it teeth because I gave it 7 sets of porcelain vampire teeth out of 10 imaginary psychiatrists.
I rated this movie long ago in my life. It's genius. That's just, there's no.
It is good.
It's just pure genius. It's
fantastic.
If you like, you know, I can't think of a better way to kill a Saturday afternoon than just making some shitty snacks, getting high, and watching this movie. It's great.
It's on my list of movies to watch again. Like I got halfway through it before you guys came over to record this, and I was like, man, I'm enjoying this. It's a good movie. It's cool. It's neat.
Yeah, it's great. There's got to be some kind of like Cajun, like trilogy or whatever, sex trilogy, 6 movies. I don't know, whatever you call that. And I think like this is definitely in it. Vampire's Kiss. There's like Wild at Heart, Leaving Las Vegas. There's like a really like a when you were looking for a present for your grandma and you want to get her a DVD 6-pack. It's
maybe
like,
Nick Cage is all about editing, I think, because he's basically the same guy, like he says in all his movies. But Wild at Heart is great.
Oh.
Like, that's got my favorite line of almost any movie ever. When all the guys come into the bar and he's just, there's like 20 guys and he knows he's going to get his ass kicked. And he's like, what do you fags want? And then, but the reason why it's such a great line is not just for the bravado of like, because then they're going to get, but then later on he comes back to that same bar, and that's the Nick Cage moment because he goes, and I apologize referring to you gentlemen as homosexuals earlier.
that was a great, I saw that movie. My cousins took me, saw it in the theater in Vancouver in like 1992. So I would have been like, whatever, 16. Took me and my brother. My one cousin walked out of the movie, was like, I can't watch this. And my other cousin was like, what'd you guys think? She's like, 17. My brother and I are like, that was awesome.
I'm putting that on my list.
Yeah.
I think his next movie is going to be Ropes of Yogurt.
Oh,
Yogurt ropes.
This is the script. I got the Ropes of Yogurt script.
Oh my God, I found the Declaration of Independence.
It's written in the Ropes of Yogurt.
All right, let's end it there.
Okay.
If you have a movie you want us to review, leave a comment below. Tell me. Gentlemen, Dave, Darren, thank you guys so much for coming out here and doing
Thanks for having me.
Follow you on the street.
Whoa. Check out the Ill Informers, too.
Yes.
Check Darren out on the Ill Informers podcast. It's hilarious. These guys are great. Follow Dave on the street.
Just follow me around. You see me,
him,
just
just
hey,
follow.
sup?
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Excellent.
Bye.
Thanks for
Bye.
having me, Jeff. It was awesome.
Well, if you made it this far, you're awesome. I love you. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave a like on the video. Make sure you subscribe. Turn on notifications for new episodes every Sunday. You guys have a great day. We'll see you next week.
Real garbage.